We were feeling pretty good about our hunting spots and the running activity we had seen to start the month, given the close encounter we had had with a nice buck a few weeks back. But smack dab in the middle of November is Nebraska's rifle deer season. Gun seasons come with their fair share of positives and negatives, and heck, it's where we got our start deer hunting. But like most public land bow hunters in this state, it makes everything come to a complete stop for 9 days. We hunted a piece of private land on opening weekend, but heard only gunshots and saw only a few does. The next weekend, for some odd reason, we got the idea that a particular piece of public land maybe wouldn't have any rifle hunters on it, and decided to get out a couple days early with our bows. But as is the case, if it's rifle deer season, there are going to be rifle hunters around somewhere. And we spent our hunt watching doe after doe go running past us. We decided to cut our losses and wait for rifle season to end. Although it felt like forever, the rifle season did finally end, and trying to pick up where we left off and hoping that a few deer still existed somewhere out there, we headed back out, hoping to end the month on a high note.
That's why you moved to sit here, because that's what they've been doing. Yeah, that's what they've been doing, cutting across the top. Because you got him and you wanted him. Oh, yeah, right there, yeah, easy. He wasn't even looking. He's just a little bit too. When I first seen him up there, I thought maybe he just didn't have like tine length or anything. And then when he got closer, his body was pretty small. Yeah, it might have been the one we saw the other day. I was going to ask you if it wasn't that same one. I was just going to tell you. My question is, how did he make it that close to us before we seen him? I don't know. I heard him walking in that tall prairie grass stuff there.
The week of Thanksgiving has always been one of our best weeks of the season. A few years back, our dad harvested his first archery buck after almost harvesting a bigger buck that we called in with the grunt call earlier that morning. Late November in the river bottoms seems to match up well with our style of hunting and the bedding areas we focus on. So armed with this historical information, we split up to cover more ground and set up on both sides of the high wall bedding area. Hunting is a game of inches and luck, and that can sometimes make things extremely frustrating. A few weeks earlier, we had a doe bring a buck into our setup, walk right below the tree, look up at us, and then continue on, bringing that buck into our shooting lane. But this doe, in a similar situation, with a buck following her into our setup, looked up, saw something she didn't like, and took that buck straight away from us. A game of inches, indeed.
Back here at the high wall, we've been sitting for probably an hour and a half this morning, hadn't seen much. Then all of a sudden Dad got a glimpse of something straight up in front of us, kind of on the private public line. It was a nice buck. It went running up the hill, actually run past the place where we usually sit when we come to the high wall, and we decided not to sit there because the wind's not quite right. So rifle season's coming and going. We know there's pressure back here on the high wall now. It's not quite the unpressured area it used to be. There's a couple guys gun hunting back in here, I think. So there's been some pressure. We're hoping that, typically after Thanksgiving here, it's pretty good back in the high wall, hoping for some good movement. So we've seen deer this morning. We're hoping that picks up. Still got a lot of morning left. Hopefully we see some more movement, get some does and bucks moving through.
Seeing buck movement like we expected to see, we continued to hunt these setups over the next couple of days. But it seemed like deer didn't even exist in these spots anymore, and a November that started off fast and full of rutting activity was ending with very little deer movement and no filled tags. Feeling just a tad bit frustrated, we flipped the calendar to December and got ready to pick up the muzzleloaders.